again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm going to complete the trifecta of the 3 records that I bought when I was in Bangkok, Thailand a few weeks ago. For me it was a couple of weeks ago. Maybe by the time this comes up it might have been a month ago. So there's the timeline. So I bought Kiss Alive. I talked about that 2 episodes ago. I bought the first Y&T, or at that time they were called Yesterday and Today album. I talked about that in the last episode. And today I'm going to talk about, it's a band called Wings. The guy that used to be in the Beatles, Paul McCartney, he's the main guy in Wings. He's the singer, the bass player, the songwriter. He wrote all the songs, and it's his record today, and that's what I'm going to talk about. This episode also gives me an opportunity to do a little bit of showing off. You may remember when I saw Paul McCartney at Photo Sol in Mexico City in November. You know, I really love rock posters like these, gig posters, screen printed, nice real posters. It's like the only official merch that I buy. I don't buy official t-shirts or anything else, but I do buy posters. And when I saw Paul McCartney in November, I know there was a gig poster produced, not specifically for the show in Mexico, but for the tour, which is not my favorite. I prefer the posters per show rather than for a tour. But I have a few from a tour that I have bought. And so I was going to buy the Paul McCartney poster, and I went around to all the official merch stands. There were about 6 or maybe 7 or 8. None of them had it. The first one I went to, the guy said, no, they're all gone. I said, oh, like from this stand or all? He said, no, you can go somewhere else. So I went to this one. I went all around, couldn't find them anywhere, which is strange because usually these posters are still there even at the end of the concert. There's not high demand for them. And it's not so much that I love the posters so much that I had to have it. It's that for me, it kind of becomes, and I guess some people have this, it becomes almost like a personal mission at that point. It's like, I gotta have this poster. I gotta complete the mission and get the poster. So I couldn't get it. And I don't know, it was a few days later or a week later or something. I contacted the artist. I found out who the artist was. It's a guy called Tyler Pate. I think his studio name or his artist name is the Creative Pain. And I contacted him. Some people would say I reached out to him, which I think is very silly because that's just like a fancy way of saying that you contacted him. So I contacted Tyler and I told him what happened. I said, man, I went to the Paul McCartney show. I wanted to buy your poster, and I went everywhere, couldn't find it. And he reached out to me. He replied to me and he said, yeah, I heard that from quite a few people through the shows in South America that there were no posters available. He said, I don't know what happened. But he said, my online store is not online yet, or at that time it was down or something. But I do have a few of my personal APs, that's artist prints or artist proofs, if you'd like to buy one. And so I got it, and I got it, I don't know, he sent it a few days or a week later, and I got it some weeks later. And today's my opportunity to show that off. So here's the poster that I got. This is the official Paul McCartney Got Back Tour gig poster. So this is for this represents all the shows on the tour. Like I said, I would prefer if I have one specifically for each show, but for me this is a good substitute. And man, I love these. I love the smell of a good screen printed poster. I love the colors and the texture of it and everything, and I love having it sitting in its little poster bag and sitting there instead of on my wall as I have with dozens of others. So this is it. It's from Montevideo, Uruguay, Buenos Aires, Argentina. These are the shows: Santiago, Chile, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Florianopolis, Brazil, Cordoba, Argentina, Lima, Peru, Bogota, Colombia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Monterrey, Mexico, and 3 dates in Mexico City. It was 2 dates in Sao Paulo, and also 2 dates in Buenos Aires, 3 dates in Mexico City. So there it is. It's pretty cool. The bird has I like the little details in some of these posters. Some have more than others. The bird has the guitar pick in his beak, and it says Got Back Tour Latin America 2024. This is signed not by Paul McCartney, but by Tyler There it is there, the Creative Pain. So I was happy to get that, and there you go. So I was just looking for an opportunity to show that, because I'm sure there were many of you that were saying, oh my God, this poor guy, did he ever get his poster? Yes, thank you, I did get my poster, and there it is. So getting to the record, this is Wings, and it's called Venus and Mars, and I've got it right here. And where to begin with this? Whoops, let me fix this poster before it's bungled up. This is the first time I've talked about Wings or any Paul McCartney album. I've done a couple of Beatles albums, so I will talk about Wings. I have no history with Wings. Maybe, as more than any band I've talked about before that I'm kind of new to. I really know very, very little about Wings other than Paul McCartney and Linda McCartney were in it. I really don't know anything about this record, and you might be saying, well, why didn't you go on Google? Why didn't you go on Wikipedia and find out? And I've said many times, I don't like to do that. I like to I think of these episodes as sitting down and talking with a friend about music, or with a stranger about music for that matter. And so coming into this, before I listened to it today, twice, as I almost always do, I think I didn't even know until, and there is a Kiss connection here, Mike Pratt, so stay tuned. You might like that. You might even learn something, like I did. I think until this Kiss connection, I didn't even know that Paul McCartney or Wings. I guess, I'm not sure if it's the album. It doesn't even say any. It just says the name of the album, Venus and Mars. On the spine, there's nothing. I don't know if it's Wings or Paul McCartney and Wings. I don't know, but I do know that they existed as a band, Paul McCartney and Wings. I know they had a couple of records. I don't know which record this is. I don't know if it's the first, the second, the third, the fourth. I don't know how many they have. I'm the only one I knew by name, and the only really Wings songs that I knew when I was a kid, and beyond that, listening to the radio, were the song "Band on the Run" and "Live and Let Die." That's all I knew about Wings. And then later, I knew a few after that. I knew, and I really, really loved "Let Me Roll It." And then with the Kiss connection, I learned about this album a little bit. It did come out in 1975, I know that. I would guess that was after, I'm sure it wasn't their first album, and I would guess this was probably after Band on the Run, because I think Band on the Run was 72, 73, maybe 74, but I'm sure Band on the Run was before this. I don't know what came after this, but anyway. And I don't know one single song from this album, except again for this Kiss connection. I never heard any of these songs on the radio. Never heard anybody talking about them. I have no idea if this album was successful. I have no idea if this album is beloved. If fans really, whether they're Paul McCartney fans or Beatles fans or just rock fans, I have no idea about the reputation of this album. If you like it, if you're a Paul McCartney fan or a big Beatles fan or even a fan of the Quarrymen or a Wings fan or a Linda McCartney fan or anybody, what do you like this album? I guess I'm trying to encourage engagement in the comments section down below. So this album was completely new to me, and so I don't have too much to say about it. And of course I did have to take notes. So I did listen to it twice today. Overall, as an album, before I get to the track by track, I liked it. It's pretty good. I can't say that this probably isn't going to be something that I'm going to get into and learn the lyrics to and everything. But I like listening to it more than some other albums that I've done in the past. And about the record itself, I should show that first. I did get this in Bangkok, and part of the reason I bought it, one, it was cheap. This was only $8 or $9 US. This is 300 Thai baht, which I think is around $8 or $9 US, which is great. And also I was still a little bit, or am still a little bit in my Paul McCartney mode after seeing him live in November in Mexico City. So I saw this in the cheap bin. This and Y&T yesterday and today, the first album, was also in the same bin. So I thought, that's pretty cool. There's a Paul McCartney album or a Wings album for $8 or $9. I will buy it. And it's in pretty good condition. This is Japanese, just like the Kiss Alive record that I bought was from Japan. This is also from Japan. This is not in quite as good condition as Kiss Alive. It's in pretty good condition, considering that it's 50 years old. There it is, Japanese, made in Japan. So looking at the actual record, it's a gatefold. There's what the gatefold looked like, and there's Wings there. Another thing about Wings, and there's the back. The the band members and the production credits, things like that are listed here. So I did look at that briefly. I don't know any of these guys' names. I mean, it's obviously Paul and Linda McCartney. Jimmy McCullough, never heard of him. These are the guys in Wings. Joe English, don't know that guy. And Denny Lane. I've never heard those names before. That seems strange. I'm not a musical encyclopedia, but I am quite knowledgeable about music. And none of those names are familiar at all. And opening up, it's and this is unusual, no? How many records have the lyrics printed on the back cover? Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I'm sure. Black Sabbath, Master of Reality had one. That's one. They had it. I think some versions. Kind of unusual. And the record itself, or the inner sleeve, it's just this silly nonsense. And this is the inside sleeve. This is the cardboard here is as thick and as durable as the record cover. Usually they're kind of flimsy. And there's the record itself. It's on Capitol Records, for whatever that is worth. All right. So I will get to this track by track now. This has some. You know what? I thought this was. I guess these are supposed to be Venus and Mars, the planets. And this has been sitting here in my house, for a few weeks since I got back. And all along, I thought this was the moon. And I just touched it, and it's actually just residue from a sticker. So it's not the moon, but that looks. It looks like it could be the moon, right? That's pretty cool. All right, so getting through this track by track, with the notes, and it is a little bit split here at the bottom. That's okay. I don't mind that. It's in much better shape than the crap that I saw at El Chopo recently, including Judas Priest Turbo, which is in tremendously horrific condition, and it was like $26 US, like 3 times what this was. So getting to the first song now. This one I don't need notes for. Here's the Kiss connection right off the bat. So in 2016, 2017, there was a Paul McCartney tribute album called The Art of McCartney, and it had art from McCartney on the cover. And I can't remember who. It was all a bunch of bands and artists covering Paul McCartney songs. I really don't know much about that album. I haven't, I never got it. I never listened to it. And I don't know who's on it. I don't know if they're all Paul McCartney songs or Wings songs. I don't know if they're Beatles songs, whatever. But I do know that Kiss was on that, and they did a song on there called Venus and Mars / Rock Show, which is the opening. I guess it's like is it listed as 2 separate songs on here? Yeah, Venus and Mars is one song, Rock Show is another song. But realistically, it's like a medley. The 2 songs kind of come together. And that's something kind of unique about this song, about this album. I noticed there were a few songs that do kind of blend together. There's no gap between them. So Venus and Mars and Rock Show. Kiss did that in 2016 or 2017, whatever that was. And oh my God, I can't tell you how much I loved that song. And you might know I'm a massive Kiss fan, but I don't really care about anything Kiss has done since, well, that depends on how far you want to go back. I mean, Kiss through the 80s, I wasn't very interested. I'm mostly 70s Kiss. Revenge was very good to even excellent, maybe. Didn't care at all about Psycho Circus, Sonic Boom, and I forgot about Carnival of Souls. Now, Rock Show, Venus and Mars Rock Show. I'm trying to think of. I guess what my point is trying to. I'm trying to make the point that Venus and Mars / Rock Show, the Kiss cover of the Wings song, is like the most that I've enjoyed a Kiss song since, I guess, Revenge. I love Carnival of Souls. Like to love Carnival of Souls. as I said, Psycho Circus, Sonic Boom, Monster, don't really care about those. So going back at least the last 4 albums, Venus and Mars / Rock Show by Kiss, and I realize I'm talking about the Kiss version more than the Paul McCartney version. God is just incredible, incredible, and I think that kind of went unnoticed in Kiss world or in Kiss fan circles. I never ever see anybody mention that online. It never comes up anywhere. It's a hidden gem. Really. If you're watching this, I know probably nobody is, especially at this point. And if you like Kiss, which I mean now we're really reaching, except for Mike Pratt. Hello, Mike. And maybe Rock in Danger, and everybody should go listen to Rock in Danger YouTube channel, especially if you like Kiss. Go listen to Kiss's version of Venus and Mars / Rock Show. It's incredible. And as far as I remember, I don't think I ever heard, this is strange, the Wings version, because whenever, and I assume most people are like this, whenever I hear a band that I like do a cover song, if I'm not familiar with the original version already, I always, maybe I miss sometimes, but I always go back and find the original and listen to it. I don't remember ever listening to Paul McCartney's version. I for sure don't have it downloaded in my digital library. And when I listened to it today, I thought, this doesn't sound familiar at all. But it's strange that I would have missed it. Maybe I listened to it at the time and just don't remember. But I was kind of surprised when I listened to it today, because I know I'm very familiar with the Kiss version. Like I said, I can't get enough of that song, and I was surprised at how like almost identical Kiss's version is, how faithful it is to the Wings version, Venus and Mars Rock Show. Love that song. It's like the most fun song you'll ever hear. And Kiss, I'm not going to talk about Kiss anymore. I'll try not to anyway. But oh my God, just a very fun, catchy, kind of an old rock and roll, a little bit of a boogie woogie song. With Who's That Man? Who's That Man? Who's That Man? Walking across the stage. No, what's the opening line? What's that man holding in his hand? What's that man holding in his hand? He looks a lot like a man, like a guy I knew way back when. It's Silly Willy with the Philly band. Could be. Ooh-wee. Who's that man? What's that man holding in his hand? No, who's that man? Who's that man moving across the stage? It looks a lot like the one used by Jimmy Page. It's like a relic from a different age. Could be. Ooh-wee. If there's a rock show. Now this is strange. When I listened to, or when I looked at the lyrics today, because I don't think I've ever looked at them, there's always part of the song that I didn't know what they were singing, what Kiss was singing. The chorus is, if there's a rock show at the concert, I didn't know what they were saying, but in the lyrics here, if there's a rock show at the concert Begot, they've got long hair and at the Madison Square, and rock and roll at the Hollywood Bowl. I have no idea what Concert Begot is. Concert Gabot. I don't have a clue what that is. I guess it's a concert venue, because they go on to mention Madison Square Garden, or just Madison Square, and Hollywood Bowl. So I guess Concert Gabot is or was a concert venue at some point. Never heard of it before. No idea if it is a real place. I don't know where it is, but I thought, what the hell is Concert Gabot? And there's so many different parts to this song. It kind of goes up and down, and it's got a great feel to it. Very fun song. For sure my favorite song on the album. Obviously due to Kiss. If I'd never heard the Kiss version, maybe this wouldn't even catch my attention. But since Kiss did it, I love it. And Kiss does pretty good covers. Kiss also did Rock and Roll Radio, the Ramones. And I don't even like Ramones, but that was a great cover. And maybe that was another one that's maybe you could say for me is one of my favorites since Revenge. And they did Any Way You Want It, Dave Clark 5 on Alive 2. They don't do too many covers, but when they do, I think they do them quite well. What other covers has Kiss done? I'm turning this into a Kiss episode. I won't do that. Now I need the notes. So Venus and Mars Rock Show, amazing song. I love it. Next is it's a song called Love in Song. It's kind of an acoustic. I think maybe there's a little bit of a piano in it. It's mostly an acoustic based song. I would say ballad adjacent, not exactly full-on ballad, but kind of a nice, quiet acoustic song. And I like it. It's a pretty good song. Next, number 3 is You Gave Me the Answer. This has kind of a piano intro. This is by far, and it's almost impossible to talk about Paul McCartney or Wings without mentioning the Beatles, and I hate to do it, but yeah, you almost have to do it. This one, You Give Me the Answer. This is, I think, for sure the most Beatles-esque or Beatles-y, Beatles-adjacent song on the record. It's very light. Just the overall tone of it, or it's kind of playful and fun. It's kind of in the vein of, I'm not saying it sounds like these songs, but it's in the vein of Me and Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, When I'm 64. It's kind of one of those fun, maybe even Yellow Submarine. Again, it doesn't sound like those songs, but it sounded like, oh, this sounds like one of those kind of fun Beatles songs. I like that song, You Gave Me the Answer. Next is This is a strange song. This sounds like a list of some of Elon Musk's kids' names. The song is called Magneto and Titanium Man. I don't know who those people are, Magneto and Titanium Man. I don't know if it sounds like a comic book characters or something, or Elon Musk's kids' names. Don't know who they are, but this is a little bit Beatles, not as much as You Gave Me the Answer, but kind of a fun, light, more Beatles than what I think of Wings, which is more rock, I think, especially, from what I know, which is only Band on the Run and Live and Let Die. Next is Letting Go. This is quite different. No Beatles here. I don't think I'm going to mention the Beatles again. Letting Go is a very 70s song. It's kind of smooth sounding. What did I write here? It's kind of a 70s groove. It's a little bit funky. Some cool guitar licks throughout it, kind of 70s guitar. It's got some horns, I guess, some trumpets, some saxophone. That's maybe my favorite after Venus and Mars / Rock Show. Letting Go, cool song. That would be the end of side 1. So now side 2, the first song is Venus and Mars Reprise. Now I think this is a good example of when records were better than CDs. Because if this were just a CD and you were listening to it like this, whereas if you listen to it digitally like I do, I think it doesn't, it would just be, why did they put this in the middle of the album? But if you turn the record over and put on the first song of the second side, it makes sense. So it's a reprise of Venus and Mars, which is essentially the intro to Rock Show. And it's the exact same song musically, the vocal melody, everything is the same. But the lyrics are a little bit different. That's it. But cool. And then there's no Rock Show after that. Now I did notice that in the lyrics when I was looking at this today, I like this. He mentions, and I guess there's a space theme going on here. He mentions Starship 21ZNA9, and I like that he said Z. I know he's British, and of course he's going to say Z. But as a Canadian, and I guess like everybody in the world that speaks English except Americans, I like that he said 21Z, not 21Z. All right. Next is Spirits of Ancient Egypt. I have no idea what the hell this song is about or why this song is called Spirits of Ancient Egypt. Very, very strange song title. And this is the first one that I just thought, I don't really care anything about this song. It's not a bad song. It's just nothing about it caught my attention. Nothing to say, so I'll move on to the next one, which is called Medicine Jar. And what exactly is a medicine jar? I've never heard of a medicine jar. I've heard of a medicine chest, a medicine cabinet, but I've never heard of a medicine jar, a place where you store medicine. And when I was listening to this song today, part of I don't know if it's the chorus, I guess it is the chorus. If you keep sticking your hand in the medicine jar, and in my head, I was expecting him for a split second to say, if you keep sticking your hand in the cookie jar. Cookie jar makes perfect sense. Medicine jar doesn't make any sense. And that song is, it's also okay. Nothing really about it. Next is Call Me Back Again. Something that caught my attention here. Paul McCartney's voice on this one. He's using that kind of raspy, rough voice, like he does at the end of Hey Jude. Where he's kind of scatting. Hey Jude, did you? That he has that kind of voice, which is, I don't think he sings like that very often. I like it when he sings like that. And lots of trumpet in this song, Call Me Back Again. Next is Listen to What the Man Said. Lots of saxophone in this song. The vocal melody, especially when it first came in, reminded me of the only other, or one of only two other Wings songs that I know. Reminded me a little bit of Band on the Run. Just the vocal melody sounded like Band on the Run. I like this song. It was catchy and it was very good. I like it. Two more. Next is Treat Her Gently, and I guess it's subtitled or parenthetically titled Lonely Old People. Nothing to say about this one. There was nothing that caught my attention at all. And then the last song, it's called Crossroads Theme, and this is a classic example of filler, and not particularly good filler. I mentioned this many, many times. Filler, I think, can be good sometimes. To me, filler is instrumentals, cover songs, little musical interludes, spoken words, things like that. And Crossroads, or what's it called? Crossroads Theme, it's the very last song on the album, which makes it sound like even more filler. Maybe if they had put this somewhere in the middle of the album, you wouldn't notice it as much. Or if they had used it as an intro to a song, maybe it wouldn't have stood out as much. But it's the last song on the record. Why bother? Why add an extra minute to an album that didn't need it? Because there are 12 songs on this album. Well, if you count Venus and Mars and Rock Show's one song, there's 12. If you count them separately, there's 13. But I just thought, why would you put a 1 minute instrumental at the end of the album? I just don't get it. And I believe this was written by, I didn't check the credits, but I believe it is written by R. Macchio. I think, Crossroads Theme? I'm not sure. So that's it. Pretty good album. Like I said, I'm not going to listen to it too much, but it was cool. And this is maybe a kind of record similar to the Y&T record. And when I bought Kiss Smashes Thrashes Hits, I said I wasn't going to mention them again. Damn it! When I bought that record in Istanbul, Turkey last year, it's kind of like if I saw it here locally, maybe I wouldn't, I would notice it, maybe I would pick it up, but I maybe wouldn't buy it. But it's kind of cool when you're on the other side of the world and you see a Y&T record and a Paul McCartney or Wings record. It's like a souvenir. It's like buying a hat or a t-shirt or a fridge magnet or whatever. So cool, cool souvenir for me to get this Paul McCartney record, Wings record, whatever it's called. And I guess it's good to have one more in my collection to listen to something new and different for a change. So that is all. Thank you for watching for Mr. Paul McCartney and his band called Wings, Venus and Mars.